Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Today's subject is Detachment, Part 4, from Sri Aurobindo. Detachment, silence, inner peace are certainly indispensable for the spiritual progress. A quiet, peace-filled detachment. In that peace, the force must do its work. Attacks of confusion, pains, etc. The one thing to arrive at is to be able to stand back from them, to feel detachment from them, separate, and call down the force to act. Whenever one can do that, the attack, the difficulty after a time retires, or even if it lasts a little, cannot disturb what has been gained. The sense mind must find the equal rasa of the all beautiful, the heart the equal love and ananda for all, the psychic prana the enjoyment of this rasa, love and ananda. This, however, is the positive perfection that comes by liberation. Our first object on the path of knowledge is rather the liberation that comes by detachment from the desire mind and by the renunciation of its passions. The desire mind must also be rejected from the instrument of thought, and this is best done by the detachment of the Purusha from thought and opinion itself. The best way to prepare oneself for the spiritual life when one has to live in the ordinary occupations and surroundings is to cultivate an entire equality and detachment and the samatha of the Gita, with the faith that the divine is there and the divine will at work in all things, even though at present under the conditions of a world of ignorance. Beyond this are the light and ananda towards which life is working. But the best way for their advent and foundation in the individual being and nature is to grow in the spiritual equality. That would also solve your difficulty about things unpleasant and disagreeable. All unpleasantness should be faced with this spirit of samatha. If we could be entirely disinterested in mind and heart, and impose that detachment on the nervous being, the progressive elimination of these imperfect and perverse forms of rasa would be possible, and the true essential taste of the inalienable delight of existence in all its variations would be within our reach. The full liberation can come to us only by a similar liberation in all our parts, the universal aesthesis, the universal standpoint of knowledge, the universal detachment from all things, and yet sympathy with all in our nervous and emotional being. From the Mother. A complete identification with the play, as a self-existent and independent thing is probably necessary, first in order to play the game as one should play it. But at one point, one does in fact reach that detachment, such a complete disgust for the whole falsehood of existence that it becomes intolerable unless one sees it as the inner play of the Lord in Himself, for Himself. Your first attitude of detachment was the true one. The weakness that you are experiencing now is the result mostly of collective suggestion acting through subconscious memories of old ideas and feelings. Our help and blessings are with you. 6th January 1939.